Today we are going to talk about how to find the area of circles. To find the area of the circles, we have the formula pi times radius squared. And in this section, you will be able to use a calculator. Okay, even though we're using a calculator, we are going to show our formula, we're showing our substitution, showing our final answer, okay? Okay, so for this first one on the left, we have a radius of 9 centimeters, and again, we want to find the area. So we're gonna start with the formula on line 1. To find the area, we do pi times radius squared. And then we can begin to substitute in. You know that we use 3.14 for pi. It tells us the radius is 9, and we're going to square it. Just like with order of operations, we know that we're going to do exponents first. So 9 squared is 81. So on my next line, I can write 3.14 times 81. And then we can use our calculator to solve. 3.14 times 81, you'll get 254.34. And we're going to label it centimeters squared. That is it. Okay. The one to the right, it's a little bit different. You should be thinking that the distance all the way across is the diameter. And when we find the area, the formula calls for radius. So if all the way across is 26, we know that halfway across would be 13. So we're going to plug in 3.14 for pi and 13 for our radius and square it. So exponents first. When you do 13 times 13, you get 169. And then you can multiply that by pi. You should get 530.66. We're going to label it inches squared. Okay. Alrighty, we've got two more just like it. The first one on the left gives us the diameter. Again, if it gives us the diameter, that's the distance all the way across. We want to find the radius, which is halfway across. So you're going to divide by 2. So the radius would be 12, and we're going to square it. We should know that 12 squared is 144. And then you can use your calculator to do 3.14 times 144, 452.16. Let's look at the label, millimeters squared. So I should see all these lines. The calculator can do your work, but I should see formula, substitute, and then begin to solve. The next one, it gives us the radius. So we can substitute in 5 for the radius. And when we square it, we'll get 25. And then when we multiply by 3.14, 78.5 square yards. Okay, those should be fairly easy. What do we do if we have a semicircle? Obviously, a semicircle is half of a circle. So if you think about our formula, pi times radius squared, that gives us the area, the amount of space inside the circle. For an entire circle, we're only doing a half a circle, so we're going to divide our answer in half once we're done. Same thing here, 3.14 for pi. We want to do the radius all the way across the circle is 8, which means the radius halfway across would be 4. So we'll plug in 4 for the radius, and then we need to square it. 4 squared is 16. When we do 3.14 times 16, you will get 50.24. That would be for an entire circle. We're going to divide that in half. So the area of the semicircle would be 25.12. Be sure to label it meters squared. Okay, We've got a few on the back. If you want to pause and try those top two to make sure you're on the right page, go for it, and then you can unpause and check your work. If not, you can do them with me. Both are semicircles, so we're going to do pi r squared and eventually divide it in half. On this first one, it again gives you all the way across. It gives you the diameter. So halfway across would be 2.5. 2.5 times 2.5 gives us 6.25. And 6.25 times 3.14 is 19.625. We're going to divide that in half since it's a semicircle. 9.8125 yards squared. It doesn't say what to round it to, so I'm just going to leave it alone for now. And this other one, again, semicircle, a half circle. So I'm going to do pi times radius squared and divide my answer in half since it's a semicircle, since it's a half a circle. It gives us the radius this time, halfway across. And when I do 11 squared, I get 121. 3.14 times 121 is 379.94, and I'm going to divide it in half since it's a semicircle. You're going to get 189.97 centimeters squared. Okay, so again, using the same formula, just when it's a half a circle, a semicircle, you're going to divide your answer in half. Okay, and then the last one, it wants us to estimate, okay? When we're estimating, you can think about this a few different ways, and as long as your work makes sense, I will be a little bit lenient. A good estimation for pi, instead of 3.14, would just be 3. The radius is 7, and I'm going to square it. So one thing we could do, 7 squared is 49. So if I change the 49 and just estimate it or round it to 50, 3 times 50 would be 150 centimeters squared. That would be a good estimate. Okay, rounding pi to 3, and then since I know 7 squared is 49, I'm not quite sure what 3 times 49 is in my head. Estimates you're supposed to be able to figure it in your head, so I would round that 49 to 50, so I could do 3 times 50. Okay. If you chose to round something similar to something closer, those would probably be counted correctly as well. That is it for area of